Hello, I hope you're doing great. In this video, we'll continue with pivot tables. We'll see how to change data and rearrange columns and rows to improve our data presentation. We'll also look at slices, how to modify them, rename them, and more. Let's begin. It's important to understand this. If I put years in columns, you can see them here, along with values like total sales and total cost. But the sales channel isn't showing up. Excel does this automatically. It's to present data better without too many columns. But they're not removed from the pivot table. I can close value fields and open years too. For example, opening 2020 shows offline and online total sales for that year. The total offline and online cost also for 2020. I can open and close it as you prefer. It's true that more data in columns can make it harder to understand. So if we need all these values, let's move the sales channel to rows and put it first. This way we can see everything offline and online separately. We can view total sales, total cost per year, and split offline and online. All these changes I'm making are specifically to show you that pivot tables are very versatile, and therefore I can keep adjusting without needing anything specific in either columns or rows. We said we didn't want totals, but look how interesting this is. You can see Africa's total here, but Asia, Australia, and Central America don't appear with other countries. This could be because they lack data or represent just one country. So what we're going to do is, to make sure, we'll right-click, remove the total by zone, then add it back again. And if you look, now here Asia does appear. Now you can see all of these, Asia, Australia, and all the rest. Okay, see, I can place it here now. It's important we understand this so we don't think there's an issue with the pivot table. They can disappear. In fact, North America isn't showing, but if I click, you'll see it appear, okay. One thing we removed was the design. So let's go back to design and choose another template. As you can see, we have rows in one color. This is the first part of the row. We have a second category, which is a zone, and we also have the subtotal of zones. Right now, we have most of the basic info to create a pivot table and work with it. But I want to show you something really cool, slices. These slices, which we'll click on, are basically interactive filters we can add to the pivot table. They'll make it look much better. For example, I want the sales channel to be a slicer, and I also want the zone to be another slicer. So I'll click OK. For each option I choose, that slicer will appear. Let's click on the slicer and go to the slicer options. Here we have different settings. In the slicer settings, for example, we can see if we want to arrange it in ascending or descending order. If we want to hide items with no data, I'd like to do it this way. We can also give the slicer a name. In this case, sales channel works well. I'll click OK and we're done. There are other options too, like columns. Since we only have two options here, I'd like the slicer to have just two columns, making it easier for users to choose between offline or online, okay? We can select either offline or online. We also have customization options. Since my pivot is orange, I want my slicer orange too. What does this slicer do? It lets us filter the pivot table automatically. We can clear all filters or select all, okay. Multi-select won't help here, but it allows multiple choices. Without it, only the first choice stays active.